All right, so welcome everybody. This is our second LUCHA parent support session. And today we're gonna be talking about Google Classroom, a tool that we use in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade for students to turn in assignments. My name's Mrs. Burt. I am the LUCHA principal, and Miss Ruby, give a wave. Miss Ruby is our community liaison, and she is translating for us today. So the way to access translation, if you are interested again in hearing this in Spanish instead of English, look for the globe feature at the bottom of your screen. It says interpretation, and you will select Spanish. And if you don't want to hear my voice behind Miss Ruby's, then you can mute original audio, okay? So si quieres español, la traducción de español, Miss Ruby está ofreciendo interpretación, so necesita escoger el globo en el área detrás de su pantalla, escoger la lista de idioma español y pueden decir mute original audio, esto es silenciar el audio original para que puedan escuchar solamente a Miss Ruby, okay? ¿Preguntas sobre eso? ¿Está funcionando bien para todos? Okay, qué bueno. All right, well then I have a little opener activity just to get us into a fun opportunity to engage a little bit before we jump into a presentation. We're gonna play a game, and the game is called This or That, okay? So what we're gonna ask you is to just share your preferences. So I'm gonna show you 2 choices on the screen, and you're gonna hold up the hand signal underneath the choice that you prefer, your preference, okay? So the first one, it's the long weekend. Where would you rather be this long weekend? If you would rather be at the beach, then give us a thumbs up. If you would rather go camping, then give us the peace sign. All right, which would you rather do this long weekend? Would you rather go to the beach or would you rather go camping? You can do one of the 2 signals, this or that. I would rather go to the beach. Yeah, the beach, let's go. Swimming, get to enjoy, sunbathe a little bit. Excellent. All right, let's do another one just to get us going here. We're just playing a little game to open up. What's your preference? Do you prefer cats? If you prefer cats, give a thumbs up. If you prefer dogs, give your peace sign. Are you a cat person or a dog person? Ooh, we got some dog people there. Oh, I'm gonna have to throw out my thumbs up. I just got 2 kittens, so we're kitten people now. All right, how about this one? Are you an early bird or a night owl? Oh, Candy, I know your answer for this one. You definitely are the thumbs up. No, she's not. I am a thumbs up. I like to get up early. We got some night owls there, though. Night owls. All right. And our last one here is, how are you feeling about Google Classroom? Are you I have no idea? Give me a thumbs up, or you're like, oh yeah, I got this. Google Classroom, I'm good. Which one are you feeling? Yeah, Diego, I'm glad you're the expert here. Nice. All right, good. Well, our goal is to get you all to move to the peace sign by the end of our meeting today. So welcome. Thank you for coming so that you can learn some more. We're going to make you feel more confident. So our objectives about today's meeting, we're going to show you how students join classes in Google Classroom. We're going to show you the different things that we can do in Google Classroom, announcements, assignments, materials. We're going to show you how students turn in work and how you can sort of keep track of what students need to turn in. Okay. So Google Classroom is an app, a feature that comes out of the Google Tools for Educators, and Alum Rock is a Google Apps district. That means we have access for all of our students enrolled in Alum Rock. They all have Google accounts where they can access tools such as Google Classrooms. Of course, they cannot access it without their teacher signing up and getting them into it. So we'll talk about how they can get in only if their teachers have created Google Classroom accounts. Okay, so it is a digital classroom platform, okay? It allows students to turn in assignments. It allows teachers to post resources and links for their students all in one centralized place. Okay, the difference between that and Google and Parent Square, so you might say, well, why do I have to have Google Classroom and Parent Square? So again, just like we talked about with Seesaw last week, Google Classroom is the way for students and teachers to really connect. This is where the teachers are posting their assignments and students are turning it in. With Parent Square, this is where we're communicating and sharing messages with you, but students are not turning their work in via Parent Square. Okay. So I am not going to show the videos. So again, just like I did last week, I will post these presentations for you. So if you want to go back and watch the videos later on, you're welcome to. There's a number of great tutorials online, but I'm going to showcase everything on here today. And you can always go back and watch these as a reference later on. So there's a video here, both in English and in Spanish. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and take a tour, but before we do, I know people have been joining us, so I just want to remind everybody that we do have translation available. So if you are tuning in a little bit late and didn't see the information, I'm going to go back one more time just to show you how to access the translation. Since I'm plowing ahead in English, I want to make sure you all can get the information you need. So again, Ruby is offering translation into Spanish, and you can access it by going to the globe feature at the bottom and choosing Spanish. Okay. All right. So I am going to go ahead and share. Well, actually, I'm going to stay in this presentation for a moment, go through the overview, and then I'm going to jump into my Google Classroom information so I can show you what it really looks like, both from a parent side, from a teacher side and from a student side. Okay, so when you first log in, this is the web page, classroom.google.com. When you first log into this and you're logged in as your username, you will see all classrooms that you are registered to be a part of, okay? And this again is a tool for students. So probably parents will not be joining classrooms, but you will be able to see from your student's computer what they will be looking at, okay? At the very top of that screen is how you join a class, and I'll show you that in my account in a little bit. There's a plus sign. You click on that plus sign and you do join classroom to get into your teacher's class. Probably by now, we're 3 weeks in, your students have already connected to their teacher's classroom, hopefully, but if not, we will show you how to do so and get you logged in and ready. Okay. Every class has a class code, so that is how they are uniquely identified, and the students will need to enter in their teacher's class code in order to get all of the assignments and messages from their teacher. Okay, at the drop-down list at the top, these 3 lines, that's always the Google drop-down menu. We will go through this later today. How to access your child's to-do list, how to see the calendar of when assignments are due, and how to change anything in notifications in terms of settings. Okay, the 3 main tabs at the top are going to be stream, classwork, and people. Okay, we're going to go through, I'm going to show you the difference between all 3 of these components. Stream is a place where the students can post questions, where the teachers can post little mini announcements. This is like the main feed. So if a student's having problem and they can't find something, they could post in there, oh, Miss Sanchez, I can't find today's assignments. And then Mrs. Sanchez could respond to that post. So this is just a feed that's constantly getting all of the messages and comments, sort of like a chat feature. Classwork is where the teacher is posting the actual assignments. And so this is the most important tab. Classwork is the most important tab because this is where you need to look for the actual posted assignments, this is where you will look for links and resources and announcements. So we're going to spend a lot of time today looking at classwork. And then people is the tab where you will see all the teachers that are assigned to that class and the students that are part of that classroom. Okay, so the main three tabs: stream, classwork, and people. All right, so starting with the first one, the stream. Again, this is where we put announcements. So this morning, a lot of the teachers posted, remember, today's Friday, LUCHA launch, here's today's link, right? It's just putting those top announcements there so students have equal rights to them. And it scrolls down with the most recent announcement staying at the top of the screen. Okay, one thing that we are pushing with our students, and I just went over this at LUCHA launch with the students, is this acronym of THINK, okay? This is a whole new world with students really engaging in digital learning, and we wanna make sure that they know how to be digital citizens, okay? And what that means is they have to understand that what they post is a reflection of them, and it sticks with their name. And so we are encouraging students to use this acronym before they put something in a chat, before they make a comment on an assignment or to another student's work. Is what you're putting true? H, is it helpful? I, is it inspiring? N, is it necessary? And K, is it kind? Okay, so again, you will continue to see that and hear me talking about it with our students. I think, you know, oftentimes, and you see this in our own adult practice with social media as well, right? Parents or adults can hide behind Facebook and, you know, write all these mean comments and not have that accountability. And so we want to avoid our students having those problems down the future and really teaching them how to use the internet and how to use social media, because we're sort of preparing them for that. They're not using it in school, but Google Classroom, Seesaw, Zoom are all giving them a little taste of these opportunities to interact and engage with people online. So we want to make sure they're doing so in a way that is true, helpful, inspiring, necessary, and kind, okay? So we'll talk more about that when we look at the work, but I just wanted to put that frame there. Okay, and then we're going to talk about how you can see what your student is missing in terms of work that still needs to be done. So I'll show you that and show you in the classwork tab how you can access teacher assignments. Okay, so let's switch gears then, and I'm going to move us into an actual Google Classroom so that you can see what it looks like in action. Okay, so I am going to stop my screen share because I believe I have another tab open up somewhere here. I just have to find it. Because I'm going to go from a student perspective and log in as, oops, it's not letting me, of course. Well, okay, I'm going to show you this tab and then I'll switch over to the student in just a moment. Okay, so let me share this. Oh, actually, here it is over here. Okay, so you guys now should be able to see. Oh, I have way too many tabs open and that's why my computer is angry with me. Okay, here we go. You should be able to see Google Classroom. Ruby, give me a thumbs up if you can see something that says Mrs. Orenia. Yep, okay, perfect. So I am now logged in as my son. Okay, so this is a student view of what you would see in Google Classroom. So this, if you look at the top, you type in the website classroom.google.com and it'll take you to a main homepage that shows the classes that your child is enrolled in. Okay, so right now my child has his third grade teacher's account and then he has his last year's teacher's account. So if you are, have not disenrolled, you could always close this one out and say unenroll, but sometimes they like to go back and see their assignments from last year, so he just leaves it there. But if you don't like having multiple things there, you can unenroll from previous classes. Okay, you just do that by clicking on the three dots and hitting unenroll. Okay, but I won't click it. So if you go to this in your child's account, and again, they have to be logged in with their STU account, okay? Remember, so you can always tell if you're logged in by, if you look at the top right-hand corner, you will see the Google account name. And if you're not there, then you'll have an option here that says sign in. And this is where they'll sign in. They use their STU, right? Their STU 42, whatever it might be, and then their account, the same one that they use to get into their Chromebook, okay? So if they are not part of their teacher's class, if you go to classroom.google.com and you don't see anything here, then that means they need to join a class. And they do that by clicking on this plus sign, okay? The plus sign is where they join a class, and they would have to enter in the class code, okay? The teachers all gave out their class codes to the students already. So as far as I know, actually at LUCHA, we are, all of our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders are definitely in the classrooms already. We've already confirmed that. But in case you have issues later on or with another child, you can get the class code from your teacher, okay? And then once you put in the class code, you would just click up at the top right where it says join, okay? Then once you are in, you will click on your teacher's tab, and then you will have access to all the big information here. So you can see the stream. Remember, I said the stream is like a big opportunity to post announcements. You can see the students here saying, hey, how can the big kids change their background, right? So this kid wants to know, how are everybody else changing their background? Or, I can't get into Zoom, right? So this is where you can share. If you're having trouble or you are working through something, but you're not on a live Zoom call, this is a great place to post those questions. And then either your classmates, they will respond, right? So they probably know the secret, right? So the kids can talk to each other and share answers, but also the teacher can. Okay, so this goes back to that THINK acronym, right? And I've been monitoring this too, and I've had to make, a couple phone calls to students who are putting things in here that aren't helpful, right? Sometimes what I see a lot in kids is they say, hey, do you want to play Roblox later, right? And so that's a comment that will go up in their feed. And so what I usually do is I if that gets posted, and I'm going to post it, and then we'll see if Mrs. Orenia yells at me. But then actually, now I'm going to get my son in trouble because I'm in as my son. So I have to delete it. I'll delete it in just a second. Then I might come in later and say, Callum, please make sure you are using this for educational purposes, right? So I might just remind the students that, this isn't really a place to share your Roblox codes and all the rest. And the teachers can monitor this, so we can go through and delete anything that's not appropriate. And students can too. If students are like, oh, whoops, I made a comment, I don't want that there anymore, they can go back and delete it themselves, right? So that's, again, just these 3 dots on the side. You can actually, I'm sorry, you cannot, only the teacher can delete it or the person who wrote it. So right now, like, I can't delete Andre's because I am not the teacher of this class, and I'm not the author of this post, right? So I can copy it. All right, so that's the stream. And as you can see, even Mrs. Orenia will put posts in here too. The teacher will be able to put posts in for the students as well. Okay. Any questions on stream then? So the first tool, stream. Okay, so the second tab is the most important one. This is the big one. This is classwork, okay? And this is where you should always go to check and see what your student needs to do for the week, okay? So at the very top at LUCHA, all of our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teachers will have a section called Important Class Materials, okay? Or it'll say like important links, or it'll say something with the word important, okay? And it'll be at the top of their page. This is where students can get quick access to all the links they need. So Monday to Thursday, Mrs. Orenia's Zoom link, I just click right here and I'll get access to where that is, okay? For each teacher's page, their specific Zoom link is on there. Friday morning at 9, we have LUCHA launch. Here's a direct link to that link so that we know. Coach J, 4th and 5th graders have Coach J time for, Mondays at 1. The link is right here, okay? Or this is third grade, but everybody would have all of the important links right here, okay? Then some teachers organize their classroom a little bit differently. The way third grade is doing it is by week. So you can say that right now, Mrs. Orenia has the week 3 assignments here. So when we click on the assignment, this is Friday's assignments, I will get access because, again, I'm logged in as my son. I will get his slide deck for today. This is what he needs to turn in. He won't see everybody's work. He'll see his work. And so this will be a description of what he needs to do. So he will finish all his work on here. Whenever you see on this right now takes him to a Google slide presentation where the teacher has created his assignments for the week. Whenever you're on a Google slide or a Google Doc and you see things underlined in blue, that means that it's a link. It's taking you somewhere else, right? So for example, one of the things that they need to do in third grade is read for 20 minutes and complete the Google form, okay? So in order to access that Google form, you click on this link, okay? And it will become a live link that will take me to the actual assignment, okay? And so here is what he needs to do for his reading log, okay? So, okay, every night you need to choose your name from the list. You need to say what was the name of the book you read, and then continue to fill out this reading log, okay? Now, when your child has completed all of the tasks, right? And make sure if it's a presentation, you're going through all the pages, right? And you're seeing, okay, read for 20 minutes, complete the Google form. Got it. Next page is math. Okay, math. I have to do a flip grid. So it says respond here. Where it says here, you click on the link, right? And it's going to take you to Flipgrid, where they're going to do their response on Flipgrid. Then you go through, here's another reading Flipgrid. Here's typing.com they need to do, and then MobiMax. So once all of these assignments are done, I'm going to show you how you would turn it in, okay? Question? Is there a question? No? Okay. So in order to turn it in, you would have to view assignment, and you could, let's say that he is now done. He finished everything on there. He feels confident that his work is complete. Then again, I'm going to make sure that you see this because some students forget this step, and it's super important that they're actually turning in their work. If they don't turn it in, the teacher doesn't get it and they can't check it. Okay. So for this case, there was nothing extra that needed to be added on because all the links took me to those assignments. So once I finish it, all I need to do is hit turn in. Okay. This big purple button right here. So if I click on that, it's going to give me this warning again to say, are you sure you want to turn it in? Yes, I'm sure I want to turn it in. So I'm going to press turn in. Okay. And then you're going to see something change on my Google Classroom. So up here, you can now see if you made a mistake and you're like, oh no, I forgot to do one thing. You can click unsubmit. Okay, which means it'll come back to you so I can fix any mistakes that I made. So you can do that by clicking unsubmit, but you'll see at the top here, it will say my work, it says turned in. So that's my status update. Now, if I go back to Mrs. Orenia's classwork tab, this assignment now becomes gray. So oops, let me go to that again. Okay, can you see the difference between the gray clipboards and the purple clipboards? Okay, so you will know if your child turned something in if it's turned gray. Okay, if it's still purple, that means that they still need to turn it in. Okay, so, and again, I'm going to go back in. If you have to actually go to view assignment, right? So this is like a little preview tab right here. If I click on all these, I get a preview of what the assignment is. But until I actually click on view assignment, I won't be able to turn it in. On things where you don't have to turn it in, you can just click mark as done, right? So if the teacher is just saying, I want you to do this Nearpod lesson. Okay, Mrs. Orenia, I did it. Mark as done. Okay, so again, it's almost the same thing, but they're not actually giving Mrs. Orenia anything to check because the check is just saying that I finished what I was supposed to do. Okay, so there's a couple different kinds of assignments. So if you see up here, it's green, it means assigned. That means he hasn't turned it in yet. But once you do turn it in, it changes to gray and it will say turned in. If I go to view assignment, you'll see it up here. It says turned in. Okay, so that's the big change here. And I'm going to unsubmit this so that my child can actually do his work and turn it into Mrs. Orenia on his own. Now, if you want to leave any comments to the teachers when you're signing it, like turning it in, you can leave private comments here. This is different than the stream. This will not go to everybody. This will just go to your teacher. You can say, Mrs. Orenia, I did my work, but I had trouble with the math. Right? So if you want to just, you know, put a lesson there, or I did it, but I couldn't log into XYZ assignment. So this is where you can leave private messages to them. Okay. So questions on assignments now, and I'm going to discard my changes and not save those. So again, this is the Classworks tab. No questions? All right, and the final one is people. I'm not going to show that because I don't want to show all the names of the kids in the class, but if you are, you know, wanting to, if the, you know, students need to see who are their classmates, they just go under people and they'll be able to see access to people. So our Lucha leaders do not have email addresses, so they cannot email each other, but if they were to have email addresses, that's where they could get the email contact info for their classmates with their ARUSD Gmail, but we haven't turned that on for our elementary students, so they cannot email each other. Okay. All right, so any questions about any of those three tabs? Okay, so then I want to show you the feature over here on the main menu. So from any of these tabs, if I'm in stream or if I'm in classwork, I have these three drop-down menus here. I can choose this, and then I get a to-do list. I don't know about you, I love check mark boxes and lists and all the rest. Well, this is where students can see what they have left to do. So it basically is just another view of seeing anything that's left unsubmitted, right? So these are the same thing that you just were able to access from the classwork tab, but it just keeps the things that weren't yet turned in. So it takes away everything else and just leaves those ones that were left because they weren't turned in. Okay, so that's again under to-do list. And then the due dates are here for the students as well. Sometimes there are things that have no due date, so they are just like posts. These actually look like they're left from last year, maybe even. But when you just look at this week, you'll see what's due this week, what's left that hasn't been turned in. So what I would do as a parent, I recommend this for all of you, is ask your child to log into their Google Classroom each day, right? And say, okay, let's go and take a look at your to-do list and see what do you still have that's left to do, okay? All right, the other thing you can find from this main menu, if you want it in a calendar function, you can go to your Google Calendar and it'll put the due dates on a calendar system. We haven't really taught our students yet how to use a calendar to manage assignments. I think this list is easier for them, but if that's something that's helpful for you, you can definitely go to that. And then there is also the settings tab at the bottom. So this is where you can change settings based on, this is really, again, for elementary, not as needed, but when you think about a middle school student who will have a class for each of their different teachers, you can imagine that that gets a little bit more complicated. So you can turn off the notifications, so you're not getting notifications every time someone posts. You can make sure that you are getting enrollment information from everybody. So this is where you can change your information. You can add in a new picture if you want to put in a picture of yourself. All of that is accessible via the settings under that 3 drop-down bar. Okay. So just so you know too, this is a feature, and oftentimes, I'm just going to teach you the Google terminology. They call this the pancake. The 3 lines they call the pancake because they look like flat pancakes stacked up. And that's always the drop down, the main menu. And then over on the right hand side, this is called, does anyone know what this is called? Let's see if you guys know.
The waffle.
Yeah, we call it the waffle. So it kind of looks like a waffle. So these are your breakfast treats here. You've got the pancake bar over here, which is the drop down menu, and then the waffle. So students can always access the waffle to get all of their Google apps for education, right? So this is actually really handy. It gives them an easy place to look to say, okay, I want to go to my Google Classroom. I go to the Google Classroom icon. I want to go to my Brain Pop account. I'm going to click on Brain Pop, and it's going to take me to this account. So again, it's the pancake over here on the right, on the left, and the waffle over here on the right to get them into different programs. And you'll be able to see things like Brain Pop, things like Kids A to Z. They all have National Geographic subscriptions here. So sometimes you don't even know all the tools that they have access to. So go ahead and ask them to check out their waffle with you, and you'll be able to see some of the tools that they have. All right, so any questions about any of this? I'm going to stop my screen share for a moment and just check in and see if there are any questions about any of those resources that we just shared. Nope. Okay, so I'm just going to show one more way of looking at this, and I'm going to show you now my view. As a principal, I get a little bit of a different view because I am actually able to access all of my teachers' accounts. So I'm going to open up this tab here and share my screen so that you can see, and I'm just going to show you a little sneak preview of all of the different teachers' accounts, because everybody does organize their classroom a little bit differently. You know, it's kind of like your house. You can decorate it in different ways. But you can see that we've got all of our teachers here. So Mrs. Estrada, Miss Maloney, Mr. Deering, Mrs. Orena, and Mr. Almerito all have Google Classroom accounts. So right now it's just our 3rd through 5th grade teachers. I've been subbing for Mr. Deering this week, so I'm just going to show you his because I can put his up. So like here you go, you can see an example of, this is in the stream, right? And so the students are putting little things like, Mrs. Bird, Leverard's not working right now. It says there's an error. Great, you know what? That's really great. I will let her know, like, oh, I will look into this. Thanks for letting me know, right? And this is exactly what we want to teach our kids to do, to advocate. So they don't just say, like, I'm not going to do my work, it's not working, right? I can give them messages and sort of release some of that anxiety too, because when kids are trying to get their work done and things aren't working, they get stressed out, right? You get stressed out as parents. So this gives them a way to communicate with us and let them know what's going on. So again, that's the stream. So for classwork, you'll see at the top of Mr. Deering's class, he has his week 3 schedule, right? And so if you want a snapshot of what the entire week looks like, this is where you would click on and be able to see, okay, here is what my student needs to complete over the course of this week, right? So there are both synchronous tasks, which synchronous means live together. Those are our Zoom calls. So here you can see every morning at 9, they have synchronous Zoom calls. Then when they are not in synchronous calls, they have asynchronous work. And here is an example of Mr. Deering's asynchronous work for the week. Okay, it will show what they have to do for independent reading, then for math, for history and social studies, for social and emotional learning, and for Seesaw. Again, when you see these things in blue font with underline underneath them, that means it's a link and it will take you directly to the assignment. So for example, this place value assignment is in Seesaw. So if I click on the link, it'll take me straight to the Seesaw activity that needs to be completed, right? And it'll take you, here's Mr. Deering's Seesaw class, here's the place value, and it'll show me all the students that have turned in their work. And if there's blanks next to their name, that means they haven't turned in this assignment yet, right? So this is what Mr. Deering sees. So this is important. And then one of the strategies that many of our teachers are using is asking students to monitor their completion by color coding it. So, okay, you were here at today's Zoom meeting, take your box, and we want you then to color code that green. That means that you finished this assignment, you did it, and then at the end of the week, the teachers are going to be checking, right, to make sure they were being honest, that they actually did it, and going back through. So we will, and this is what we give you as your end of week report, we will give you a copy of this, right? And each teacher's looks a little bit different, but if you see, oh, like this student missed their Wednesday book of LUCHA, and then it's highlighted in red, right? That means they didn't do it. And if it's highlighted in yellow, that means maybe they did it, but they didn't follow directions fully, or they got some information wrong, or it was incomplete, but at least they did part of it, right? So green would mean done, correct, great. Yellow means done, but maybe some errors or some needs to be reviewed. And red means incomplete. Okay, so in Mr. Deering's class in particular, when you see this, each student, when I view assignment, I will see that each student has their own copy of this schedule, right? So they all are monitoring their own. So you can even see, like, some of the students, you look at their work here, like, okay, she's already done all these green and yellow. Now at the end of the week, I'm going to check and make sure, are those really green and yellow? And so making sure that this is where you would ask your child to open up theirs so that you can look at what their assignments are and what needs to be completed. And at the end of the week, your teacher will send you a report to get that information. Okay, so that's Mr. Deering's. Miss Maloney's is a little bit different. She's doing hers by subject, right? So you can see important weeks at the top. She's got then reading, writing, SEL. So instead of doing it weekly like Mrs. Orena does, she does hers by subject. All right, so same idea, just a little bit different organizer, but same thing. She's got the weekly planner right at the top, so kids can go right in and say, okay, what do I need to do this week? Let me go in and see the schedule for the week. And if you have questions, this is where you ask your child, hey, go into your Google Classroom, let's look at your daily assignments and see what you need to do. Okay. So all of our teachers are super organized, trying to make it easy for you, so you're not, always looking for a message, but you can go in here. Another trick that I will say, you can download the Google Classroom app if you want to be able to just keep tabs on your child, right? You're welcome to do that. So Google Classroom does have an app, so you just go to the App Store and download Google Classroom, and you would just need to type in your child's STU, but that's public information, and as the parent you have rights to that, so you can certainly go in and check their work. I'm just going to show you real quick what it looks like from the phone perspective so that you can access that as well. So again, sometimes it's just handy at the end of the week or the end of the day to say, hey, let's just take a look at it together and see if you finished all your work. All right, so let's see if this is coming up. All right, so Google Classroom app, same thing you will have at the main tab piece. Can you guys see my phone screen now? Yes, okay, perfect. So you'll see at the top, the classes. This gives you, again, all the classes they're enrolled in. It's going to be slow for me now. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it won't let me show you. But there you go. All right, so you should be able to jump in and just go to your child's class. Again, at the bottom, you'll see the different tabs now instead of the top. So you see stream, you see classwork. And again, you can just click in and see, okay, here's my different assessments. Here's my week 3 assessments. You can pop in and just check your work on there. Okay, so if you want to download the app, again, you would just need, when you first get the app, you would need to enter in your student's STU. Again, This is not for you to sign in. You would need to sign in as a student to make it meaningful so that you can access their information versus this is not for a Google account for parents. All right, so any questions about any of this information for Google Classroom? Okay, so I'm just gonna jump back into our presentation then, make sure we covered everything that we wanted to cover. Okay, we talked about, let me go back here. All right, are we back on our turning in Google Slides? Can you see that one for me now? Okay, perfect. All right, so we talked about turning in assignments, making sure that those actual assignments get turned in at the end of the week. Sometimes that's what's been holding students off. They've done all the work, they just forgot to turn it in. So make sure your child's doing that. And then we showed you how to look at all of the things under the pancake tab. Remember, you can look at the to-do list and see what assignments are left to do. And then grades. So the teachers can also give grades on the assignment. So after they check the work, your child will get how many points, what credit they gave. And so the teachers are still working on flushing that out. Right now, most of the work is getting to know you activities foundational. So they're not really assigning grades to it yet. But as we get into more deep concepts, they will be giving more grades out. All right, so here are some more links. Again, there's tons of YouTube videos out there. If you feel like you want to watch some more information about Google Classrooms, here's a couple of the ones that we would recommend, both in English and Spanish, so you can definitely check these out. But let's see now how you're feeling. We're gonna go back to our thumb sign or our peace signal. So now that you've learned a little bit more, show me with your hand signals, this or that. Are you feeling more confident, right, with this? Give us a peace signal, or are you still like, what is this Google Classroom thing? And it's okay, yeah, there we go. I see some muscles in there, some peace signs, nice, good. Well, and if you have any questions, again, don't hesitate to reach out to your teacher and ask your teacher or me or Miss Ruby or Mrs. Musquez. We're here to support. So thank you guys so much for attending this training. We are going to do another training next Friday. Next Friday, we're going to be talking about how to access books in a digital world. So we know that we still want to keep our kids reading. And so we're going to be going over some of the tools for our students to use their San Jose Public Library digital card to get access to ebooks and share with you some other tools that you can use. So we hope that you will join us again next Friday, 10 a.m. And just continue reaching out to us if you have any questions. All right, so thank you everybody, and I'll stick around if you want to stay on and ask any additional questions. Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask.